So if that's what you're about, I'm here for you. Let's freaking get it. Okay. You're here because you're ready to break the cycle and go from, your past where you're with emotional trauma and like move forward in a life of total abundance. So I'd like you to just like picture this for a moment. You are on the brink of your own personal financial revolution, where the only thing standing between you and your dreams, this life of total abundance, is, well, nothing. So, welcome to your launch pad for financial liberation. You're not here by chance. You're here because you heard the call of a future where your net worth is a reflection of your self-worth, where money is not just a source of anxiety and angst and frustration, but it's a tool for freedom and fulfillment. Today, we're going to smash through those old wealth wounds and limiting beliefs and money myths and give you a clear path forward for financial freedom and empowerment. This isn't just about counting pennies, though. This is about multiplying moments of joy. I ain't about that whole spreadsheet all day, tracking everything. I'm not about that life. Yes, I do like to track and budget my expenses, but it's not just about the black and white numbers. It's about multiplying your joy. So if you're ready to transform your relationship and step into your power, then let's get this party started. What we're going to do today is help you break this cycle. You're going to see how emotional trauma can influence your financial behaviors. And you already know this, right? I mean, women as a whole, we're just more likely to overgive in relationships. We want to take care of people. We want to, we want to be that nurturer, but we can end up being overextended and you're giving way more than you're getting. I don't know about you, but I've been in that situation. So because of all this trauma that you've experienced at some point in your life, it can contribute to like financial avoidance behaviors, having a scarcity mindset, and just leading to cycles of debt where you're trying to fill this hole on the inside, like a spiritual hole with material stuff, and you're never actually able to fill it. Been there? So we're going to help you identify where you are in the cycle. Going to give you some like hardcore real life strategies to break free, help you take experience empowerment through action. And then I'm also going to give you plenty of resources and support if you want to take this to the next step. But before we get into all that, I know money can be it creates a lot of shame and guilt and feelings of not enoughness. No matter where you are in your life, you probably feel like you should be further along and you want this life of abundance and freedom and just like prosperity, but it feels so far out of reach. You're like, oh my God, I mean, I'm already going full speed. I don't see how I could possibly do any more and get there. It seems like so far. But I'd like you to take a second to realize you've made way more progress than you realize. Like, think about where you were even just 3 months ago in relation to today. How much closer are you to your goals? How much more clarity do you have on who you are and what you want? What are some things that have happened in the past 12 months that have brought you closer to where you want to be? Chances are there's a lot more of those than you give yourself credit for. What I'd like you to do is time travel back to a moment in your past where you were making 1/10 of what you were making now. Looking back, could you ever have imagined being where you are today then? Probably not. I know it was hard for me to do that. I mean, now I'm making more than I ever have. I mean, it's incredible, but I mean, even just a couple of years ago, I couldn't have seen this. So that's why I'm just so excited to share this stuff with you guys today, because I feel like I have kind of cracked the code on how to get there. And it took me a long time. Like this is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart because I struggled with it for years and years. I'm also in recovery. I struggled with addiction for many years. Like I went through it. I'm a stubborn person. I had to figure this stuff out myself, but I feel like I genuinely feel and felt at the time that if I could get through it and help just one other person find the path forward, then it would all be worth it. So I'm just so grateful and excited to be here with you today, sharing these things with you. So give yourself some credit, girl. You're a lot stronger, more capable, and further along than you might think. All right. So chances are you connect your self-worth to your net worth, meaning whatever your bank account balance says, that's the level of confidence and freedom and independence that you deserve. So if your bank account isn't where you would like it to be, you don't feel like you don't feel like you got it. You're like feel like you're lacking somehow, that you're just somehow not enough, that somehow these numbers in your bank, in your present bank that you can see in your physical reality, because what we're going to talk about is you've got millions and millions of dollars out there in your vortex. They just haven't physically appeared yet, but you're basing all of this on what your bank says. So I'd like you to throw that out the window and take a second to ask yourself, like, what are some things about you that make you worthy that have nothing to do with money? Really, do any of the things that make you worthy have anything to do with money? They don't. They don't. Your self-worth, your worthiness, your beauty, your innate enoughness has nothing to do with money. In fact, I'd like us to flip that on its head, because what you believe, you don't get what you want, you get what you think you deserve. And so if your self-worth is down here, you don't think you deserve a higher net worth, and you're not able to call in those dollars because you don't feel like you deserve it. So even though they're out here, they're waiting for you, they want to talk to you, they want to hang out, you're like, no, 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 I'm not good enough. You can't come here. It's not safe. It's really so funny that we do that. Think about a time in your life when you were like really genuinely, deeply joyful. Did that have anything to do with money? Girl, I know you like your Lululemons and Starbucks. Does that give you joy? It might give you joy. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It gives me joy too. I love buying stuff. I love having my cute little workout clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, like, a real genuine moment of joy, it usually has nothing to do with money. And your self-worth has nothing. Your self-worth does define your net worth, not the other way around. So the more you can start feeling good about yourself and comfortable with where you are and appreciating, truly appreciating the dollars that you have today, the more dollars are going to feel welcomed into your experience. So before we can get into all that, I'd like us to do a quick little financial self-assessment so we can kind of understand where you are with money, give you a quick little money check. So if you haven't already, I'd like you to take out a journal, paper, pen, whatever, floats your boat. And I'd like you to jot down your answers to these questions. You have to answer these, guys. You're not going to get anywhere by just listening to this content. If you're anything like me, I'm always listening to something, doing something, and, probably walking or, out and about. So obviously if you're driving, you do not do this right now, but I definitely would like you to come back to it. But what I'm saying is there's a huge difference between information and transformation. I could give you all the information in the world today that can help you get there, but if you don't actually put in the work, you're not going to get the result. And that's what I want for you. I want the result. I want you to get into that abundant millionaire lifestyle. Okay? All right. So which one of those just best describes your feelings towards money? Is it like the sad face? Is it the huggy face? Is it the like, I love you? Is it the, you're like kind of confused, perplexed? Like, which one of those best describes your relationship towards money? And you're going to know which one it is. You don't overthink it. On a scale of 1, which is never, to 5, which is always, how often are you tracking your spending? And be real. Nobody is grading this. This is, you know the assignment, all right? How often do you track your spending? Do you have any idea how much you're spending on clothes, groceries, insurance, rent? You probably would know what that is because it's always the same. But you get the gist. And it's not enough to be like, I know that I spend too much. No, I'm serious. Like, what are you tracking it? Okay. Which of these financial topics would you like to learn more about? Are you interested in investing, saving for retirement, budgeting? It'd be interesting if you cared about budgeting. I hated budgeting until I started doing this and like really got the hang of it. I put it off for as long as I could. Getting an abundance mindset. Maybe it's side hustles and multiple streams of income. I'm just curious, like which one of those do you want to learn more about? All right. This is true or false. I feel overwhelmed by my debt. Does your debt feel like suffocating? Or are you like crushed under the weight of it? Or you like don't think about it? Or maybe you don't have any debt, which is awesome. All right. Do you have an emergency fund? Yes or no? If yes, write down how much. Think about how long that emergency fund would get you through if you didn't have any money coming in. We'll get there in a bit. This one is, what is stopping you from investing? And if you're investing, then forget about this. If you're not investing, what's stopping you? Seriously, like what is it? Are you confused? Does it seem too hard? You've never done it before. You don't have enough money to invest. Like which one is it? All right. And now what are your top 3 financial goals for over this next year, for the next 12 months? Whether that's an amount you'd like to have in savings or your emergency fund, how much you would like to have in investments. Maybe you want to buy like that Tesla or the new Lexus RX 450h. I don't know. In black with tan leather seats. On a scale of 1, which is never, to always, how often do you avoid checking your bank account? I'm looking at you. Yeah. Because you think if you don't check it, then you'll still have money in there and you don't want to check it and see that there's no money because then that'll disrupt your whole illusion that you have money. Like, how often do you avoid it? Are you avoiding it daily, weekly, monthly? Like, how often do you have the idea that, like, I should check it and then you don't? All right. Now, how do you envision your life getting better when your financial situation improves? Like, what specifically will be better about your life once you have more money? And then the next one, which this isn't on here, but I want you to write it down. What specific amount of money do you want to have in your bank account 12 months from now? Maybe you wrote that down for your goals, but I would like you to have a specific answer to that question because you're going to need that later. Okay? All right. Now we're going to move on to the mindful budgeting portion of this workshop class, what have you. This was a new concept to me when I first got into this. It's called mindful budgeting. Like you vote with your dollars, basically. And the more that you can align your spending with your values, the better you're going to feel about yourself and your financial situation and your self-worth. And the better you're going to be able to sleep at night because you know that you're living in alignment with what matters to you most. So I'd like you to look over these different core values that have something to do with money. I mean, there's more values than this, but I feel like these are definitely cover the different ways that we feel and want to interact with money. And pick your top 3. Like, what is most important to you out of these? I know they're all great and beautiful, and sometimes it can be hard for me to pick my core values. It took me a while, but it's so important to be clear on what do you stand for? What are you here for? What matters most to you? And these are different for everybody, and that's what makes us all beautiful and unique and amazing, is we have different values, and that's fine. when you start getting into dating and relationships, you realize how important it is to know what your values are so that when you start dating, you're not just accepting anything. Like that's what it means to have your values align. If you value adventure and travel and they value security and staying at home, that's not going to work. It's just an example. Okay, let's get back to this. So let's say you value stability and security, but you spend all the money that comes in. You don't have a financial safety net. You're not saving or investing for your future. Then you're not living in alignment with your value of stability and security because that's not going to create that. Let's say you value stability and security. Now, this is interesting, but you are unwilling to create a structure around your day and how you spend your time because you don't like to be, confined. What's crazy is structure is what creates freedom and stability. It's not like you get freedom in the moment and then that gives you security. You create the stability now through time blocking and spending in alignment with your values and spending your time in ways that are conducive to building something like a nest egg to take care of yourself in the future. So if you feel like, oh, I'm just really not one to have wake up at a certain time and I know it's on my calendar, but I don't feel like doing it. That's not going to create that stability for you that you crave, that you're saying is important to you. So you either change the way you're showing up today, or you're going to have to pick another core value and just decide that you don't care about that. But just be real with yourself, be authentic to yourself. Whatever it is, you got to live in your truth in order to feel good about how you're showing up in life. You can't try to be someone else and feel good waking up in the morning and sleeping at night. You got to be you. So, what are your top 3? Or you could say, you value empowerment, but you really have never taken the time to learn about how to create financial freedom and empowerment until today. So, that's why you feel so good being here because you're actually acting in alignment with your values. How about that? Okay. Now, this is the second part of mindful budgeting. Keeping tabs on your cash flow is like giving your money a front row seat to the show of your life. By you keeping a close eye on your finances, you're basically rolling out the red carpet for more moolah to join the party. I'm telling you, this shit works. The more attention you pay to your money, the more money is going to come into your experience. It's just crazy. Like even by you being in touch and aware of what's coming in and what's going out, it'll change your spending and saving behaviors. Just the fact that you have an eye on it. It's insane. So I created this whole like master budget spreadsheet tracker for my course for Millionaire Mindset, where we've got there's a debt payoff game, a way to manage all your monthly subscriptions. It tracks all of your expenses and income by category. So it's really easy to see where your spending is each month. I have them go through and set their what they anticipate or what their projected spending in groceries is versus what they actually spent, and it shows them the difference. But for the purposes of this class here today, that was going to be way too much for us to get into. What I'd like you to do is download the app called Mint. It's just called Mint, Mint. It's right here. And it's pretty freaking awesome. So you just download this app and you're going to connect it to whatever bank accounts, credit cards, whatever, you use for your bank, connect them to each other. And Mint will automatically generate a report for you for each month that tells you this month you spent this much on groceries, which is more or less than the month previous, and, groceries, eating out. And you can edit the categories to an extent. But there's some things they won't let you change. But if you're not in the course yet, I recommend Mint for doing this. So what I'd like you to do is, go in there, get acquainted with the app, download it. Maybe you can edit your categories a bit. Just you can use names that make sense to you, whatever you want to do. But familiarize yourself with the platform and set some like main categories for yourself. Like the things that you spend the most on every month, you need to have categories for that you're easily able to track. You can also put like upcoming bills and expenses in there. So, it'll tell you how much you have in your bank account. And you're like, oh, boy, like my car payment's coming out on this date. I can't get this because I need this much in there. It'll help you do that. It's so important. It's so important. You don't have to take my word for it, but like try it for yourself and you'll see it almost immediately. So, this isn't necessarily for us to do today, but this is for you to reflect on later. Let's say after a month has gone by, I'd like you to review and reflect and actually forget what I said about a month. What I do and what I'm recommending you do is a weekly money date. And I go into how to do all of this in my course, but for this, it's simple. Okay. I want you to set the tone, get in the vibe of your highest vibe self, the version of you who already has all the things. She does all the things. She shows up in her most authentic, aligned, badass self every single day. I want you to do that. And then I want you to bring up your Mint, platform. You could do this on your computer or you could do it on your phone. But I want you to bring up all your, banking and credit card screens, as well as light a candle, put on some high vibe music, open your Amazon account, go to your transactions page. You have to go to orders and then transactions, because I need you to be really clear on because you're like, I log into my Capital One, it'll tell me I spent this much on Amazon, but I don't know what that $20 was for unless I check my Amazon. So you gotta know what's going on in each. Oh, and what's cool about Mint is you can update these categories in real time. So say you buy, a new dashboard phone mount or something on Amazon and it's $20. You can go into your Mint app like the next day and you can select what category that's for. So it'll automatically group all of your Amazon purchases as like a certain thing, but we know there's more than one category of thing you get on Amazon. So you'll go into your Mint app and you can just update it then. So by the time you go and do your weekly money date, your categories are already updated according to what your purchases were that week. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So I'd like you to weekly set a date, put it in your calendar. And I like to do mine Sunday mornings at 9 a.m., but you can do it whatever time works for you. Put it in your calendar and create a little ritual for yourself where you're like, this is good. Like set the positive vibe and intention that you are stepping into the most abundant, aligned, authentic, empowered version of you. And this is how you get there, by doing these money dates. And I'd like you to ask yourself some of these questions. So you're going to review and reflect on your expenses. So I'd like you to think about your top 5 categories. And before you do this, ask yourself, how much do I think I spent on groceries last month? Or maybe it's for clothes. And you could look at your spending from the previous month in Mint. It's really cool. You could do it in my spreadsheet thing too, but I'd just like you to do it like this right now until you get into the course. But look at your categories and ask yourself, are any of those surprising to you? Are you like, oh, damn, like I had no idea I spent that much at Sephora? Although you probably did, because you go into Sephora, you already know. It's like going to Lululemon with $100. You're like, it's not going to work. Okay. So like, what are the things that surprised you about the differences in the categories? And identify a purchase, you're going to know one that was more emotional than it was practical. Like you went to Target after work and you didn't have a list. You just kind of like had in your head, you needed to get like creamer and almond butter. And then like $150 later, you walk out with these like shoes and a pink jacket because it's like Valentine's Day and whatever. So and then you get home and you're like, am I really going to wear this? I don't know if I'm going to wear this. I'm not even really sure why I bought it. And identify what were the chain of events that needed to happen in order for you to make that emotional purchase. Oh, I was hungry. It was after work. I didn't have a list. And ask yourself, like, how can you create a healthier response next time? And I was talking to one of my friends about this yesterday, and because I struggled with this for a long time, especially like having ADD shopping. I just get distracted and I'm like, oh, this, I gotta get this, I gotta get this. And it took me a while to figure out how I can actually go into stores and make like quick, easy decisions about the things that I need. And a lot of this was around setting up routines, like setting up parameters, containers for myself to be successful. So I know if I go and Target after work like that I'm going to make emotional purchases. So what do? I fill up my cart on the app and I have them bring the things out to my car. Maybe that's not what's going to work for you, but that works for me. And they bring the stuff out to my car, and it's so much better for my budget. It really is. And it's like just better for my mental, physical, everything well-being, because then I don't have to spend my time feeling guilty or ashamed that I, bought this stuff that I don't really want. You know what I'm saying? And so before you're making a purchase, I've started to realize that I ask myself, like, where am I right now when I'm making this purchase? Like, am I buying this new podcast microphone because I need it right now? Like, I'm going to use this. Is this something like I really, really want and need in this moment? Or am I buying this anticipating that I'm going to need it in the future at some point, and basically by default saying that I don't think I'll be able to afford it then, so I have to get it now, which that's like a scarcity mindset. Because if you think about it, when you're coming from an abundant, empowered, free perspective, you know that whenever you need something that you're going to be able to get it. So there's no need to like proactively purchase things that you don't really need just because you're trying to fill a void or make sure that you have it when you need it at some point down the road that's yet to be determined. Does that make sense? So based on all of that, like, what is one habit that you're excited to change for next month? Set yourself a specific emoji-filled goal. Like, maybe it's making a list. Maybe it's having them bring it out to your car. Maybe it's something totally different. I mean, whatever it is, what's the habit? Maybe it's like looking in the fridge before you go to the grocery store, or having a snack before you go into Trader Joe's so you don't buy the cookies at the checkout. Like, whatever it is, what's a habit that you are excited to start next month? Okay. This is really steps 4 and 5 of your mini budget makeover, are to adjust and align. So in order to do that, you've got to have some clear financial targets, which we discussed in the earlier part of this, your 3 financial goals for this year. But having a clear target is the only way you're going to know if you're getting closer or further from where you want to be. And it's not enough to just say, I want more money. That's not enough. Like, you wouldn't write a letter to a friend with all the letters of the alphabet and then expect them to like discern what you mean. It's the same thing with the universe or God. You've got to get like really clear on what you want. It's like, I want to be making, $187,000, 649 and 82 cents, at this point next year. Whatever it is, it's got to be clear and specific and time bound. So clear targets. Step 2 is identify cost saving opportunities. So maybe you realize that you're buying things that you don't really need because you're bored during your lunch break. And so maybe that's an opportunity for you to both save yourself time and money on shit you don't need. You don't need it. If you need it, you'll know. I promise you. You can start exploring different income streams. Maybe you've been wanting to start a side hustle. You want to make a course. You want to sell your shit on Etsy. You want to start getting into affiliate marketing or drop shipping or being a tutor. I mean, there are so many options. Copywriting, design. I know you're good at things. I know it. I know you are, or you wouldn't be here. You're an extremely talented, capable young woman who could literally do anything she wants to. You just have to decide. So if you are happy with your job now, you don't want to leave, but you do want to make some extra money, there are plenty of ways to do it. Just ask ChatGPT. Don't even get me started. We're very close. So yeah, start exploring additional income streams. Ask yourself if if you're due for a promotion or a raise, or if there's, if you're happy at your job, are you ready to find another job? Do you need to update your resume? Don't settle for less than you deserve just because you don't think you have any other options, because you do. Boo. Okay. Align your spending with your values. We already talked about that. It's so important. When you're aligning your spending with your values, I'm just telling you, you're going to feel so much better. And prioritize your expenses, meaning like prioritize, like know the difference between needs and wants. And when you get paid or when that money comes in, paying your bills, the things that you have to pay first. And we're going to talk about one of the very important parts of that in just a couple slides. Okay. All right. So that concludes our mini budget makeover portion of today. And now I want to move on to how you can start overcoming your debt with confidence. And I don't know how much debt you have, if it's a lot, maybe if it's a little, you've got a bunch of credit card debt from 5 years ago, whatever it is. If psychologically, when you know that you're in debt and you're spending money on things that you don't need, you are digging yourself further in a hole, and you're creating additional pressure and constraints on your life for no reason, because you're not aligning your spending with your values. Because I know you value freedom, or you would not be here. So regardless, we live in a country that is capitalist in nature. We want stuff. We live in a material world. Money is something that, can seem very elusive. And so you want to be able to treat yourself and get nice things. But then, one day the bill comes due and you're like, damn, girl, I didn't know you could get that much stuff at Athleta. Okay. So in my course, we go into this in a lot more detail. I have like a debt payoff game, but I'm going to give you the gist of it here. I don't care how much you're paying off every month. If you're making progress towards paying this down and you're not adding more up, you're going to feel better in your life. You're going to experience increased joy, freedom, empowerment, all of the things, just by knowing that you're making progress. So don't put it in your junk drawer and act like it doesn't exist and not do anything with it because you're just so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. No. Where you start is by getting really, really clear on how much you owe and to who, and what's the interest rate, and, when are your monthly payments due, all the things. And in the Goddess budget sheet tracker, Inner Millionaire Mindset, I walk you through all of that. But for here, you can just create it yourself. You could put it, I don't know if you could do it in your Mint, but you can create a Google Sheets thing, and it's just a few columns. The name of the debt, when it's due, the amount, and the interest rate. Once you have that information and you are armed with your budget, your mindful budget that you have created in Mint, you know how much is coming in and going out, how much you're spending on unnecessary expenses, you come up with a number that you are able to pay every month. Let's say it's $20. That's great. It's better than nothing. And you just start paying off one of these debts. And there's a few different methods to do it. There's a snowball, avalanche, consolidation. Snowball is starting with the smallest debt. So let's say you've got $12, $12 debt. I'm just being silly, but those are just $1,200 and $12,000. You pay off the $12 debt first, and all of a sudden you got a boost in confidence because one of your debt's gone. You don't have that debt anymore. And it builds momentum forward to continue forth. I tend to prefer the avalanche method, which is paying your highest interest debt first, because it's going to save you more money in the long term. Because if you think about it, if one is 30% interest and you're paying your $12 debt, which is like 5% interest first. You're really not doing yourself, I wouldn't say you're not doing yourself any favors, but me personally, my preference would be to pay the highest interest debt first and build momentum from there. Because then all of a sudden your $12,000 debt is gone. You pay it off, you're making progress, and you're good to go. But like all of these debts, depending on where they are in the debt process, you can negotiate them. You can ask them, what is my debt payoff amount if I were to pay this, today or next week or next month? So when you get your tax return or that money from, someone who owed you some money, whatever it is, before you buy anything else, you call your creditors and you say, hey, what's my debt payoff amount for this? You ask them, and you don't have to pay the full amount, is what I'm saying, if it's in collections. Sorry, I should have prefaced it that way, but these are just things that I have learned along the way, and I really hope that they can help you. And the other thing you can do is you can consolidate your debt. So you can reach out. There's a number of different companies that offer like personalized debt settlement programs where they will combine all of your debt into one monthly bill, and they'll negotiate with your creditors on your behalf, and then you just have one monthly payment, which is pretty cool. So if you're overwhelmed by it all and you're like, I just don't know, avalanche snowball, you could check out consolidation. Some of the people that do it, I have National Debt Relief. They're known for offering personalized debt settlement programs, and they have a good reputation for customer satisfaction. There's one called SoFi, which gives you low interest debt consolidation loans with flexible terms, which is good if you have a higher credit score. But you can look these up. You can Google them, debt consolidation. I won't bore you with all of them. And one other thing I wanted to say about this is improving your credit score. So it can be rough when you have credit cards that you haven't paid, they're in collections, and it's hurt your credit because it impacts your ability to get the things that you want at a reasonable interest rate, right? So what you can do is, in addition to paying off your debts, this is something I've learned. You can pay like an additional like $25 on each of, like, say your car payment. It's usually $350, you pay $375. Your electric bill is usually $100, you pay $125. You pay a little bit more on each of your bills, which puts you ahead, and so you're always on time with your bills. And if you have a credit card, you have to keep a little bit of a balance on there. So let's say you've got like a $500 credit limit, you spend $100 of it, you could pay like $75 off of it, but you have to keep that $25 balance to the next month, but you want it to be low in proportion to your total credit line. And if you carry that and then you pay it off the next month, you always pay it off, it's going to increase your credit score. You might have to pay a little bit in interest in order to get the credit of doing that. But in the long run, you've got a better credit score. You're paying your debt down. Your financial future is brighter than ever, So now that we've got our mindful budgeting, we know where we are. We've done our financial assessment. We've done our mini budget makeover. We've talked about debt. Now it's time to move on to the fun stuff, which is building you a financial cushion. Okay. They say the best time to plant a tree is either 10 years ago or today. It is never too late to start. Your future, your dreams, your desires, your freedom is worth it. It's worth it. How did this apple tree grow? Well, it came from a little tiny seedling that was just like this. Before, you couldn't even see the seedling. It was like under here. You couldn't even see it. And then it grew into this. And then it grew into a whole nice big tree. I thought I had a pointer on here. That would have been cool. Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. That's fine. All right. So my point is, it all starts today. Everything starts with a small step. Do you know what the difference is between you and all self-made millionaires? They all started from zero. They all started right where you are right now. I don't know if you're at zero, but if you're above zero, then you're ahead of the curve, my friend. So we basically, I know that you're not where you want to be in life. You feel like you've been sold a lie. You were told to go to school, get good grades so you could get a good job, thinking that then you'd make good money and then you'd be happy. But you're not happy. You're not happy. You want to do something else with your life. You feel like you're missing out. You like this can't be it. So you have these dreams of like starting your own business or working for like an entrepreneur that you admire or working in a company that really aligns with your values, but you can't because you're dependent on that paycheck. You're dependent on them to pay your bills. What I'm here to tell you is that a financial cushion is a creative cushion. You do not have to put the pressure on yourself to make whatever your hobby or passionate about pay the bills immediately by not having anything built up. Because when you put that pressure on your art and your creative expression, it squashes it. Like, if you were to leave your job or get fired or something and you tried to make a go of it at your business, but you didn't have any kind of financial cushion built up, that would be a lot of freaking pressure. And some people might operate well under those circumstances, but I think most of us would feel really scared. And I don't want you to do that to yourself. So, the first step in starting your own business or getting into a career that you're passionate about, that you love, is creating a financial cushion for yourself. So, the first thing that you have to do is you have to start to secure your foundation. And what I mean by that is building up a 3 to 6 month emergency savings. You do not need a reason to save. Some people think they can only save if they have a big purchase coming up, like I want to buy a house or a car. Like, you don't need a reason to save. The only reason that you need to save is so that you can basically buy back your freedom, because every bit of money you save, you put away for yourself, is a point in time in your future that would have been controlled by somebody else. You're buying that time back for yourself. How cool is that? It's freaking cool. That's your reason to save. So you got to start building up your emergency savings so that if something inevitably happens, which it does because this is life, surprise, you have a cushion built up so you're not frantic. How am I going to survive? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to live? Because you've got a cushion. You're like, okay, it's fine. So when your boss is like being an asshole, or you're in that relationship that before you wouldn't have been able to leave because there wasn't enough money to leave, now you can. And not even that you actually do leave, but you know you have the choice to leave if you wanted to. So that's the first step, is securing that foundation for yourself. Step 2, let's talk about some beginner-friendly investment avenues. So I don't know what your reason was, what was stopping you from investing, or maybe you have started investing, which is awesome. Congrats. Good job, girl. So if you've never invested before, let's like demystify this whole situation. I have another app for you. I'd like you to download the Acorns app. It's the literally easiest way I know to start saving and investing without thinking about it. Acorns is pretty cool. Like we talked about our seedlings on the last page. When you make a purchase, like say you go and get gas and your gas is like 55.50, it'll round up that purchase. So the 50 cents between that is going to automatically put into an investment account, and they're automatically going to start investing it for you. And the whole premise is every acorn or every oak tree started from an acorn. You can start with the smallest amount. So I don't care if your excuse is I don't have enough money to invest or I don't have enough money to save, that's why I'm not doing it. You put the Acorns app on your phone and you set it up, the money will be there. And all of a sudden, when you start, it's already gone, like that 50 cents, you don't even have it in your account, you adjust accordingly. You're not going to miss it, I promise. The second thing, what I do, I'd like you to open a Charles Schwab account. It's a super easy, low-cost way of investing for total beginners. And I figured this out because this is what the platform my mom uses. So that's how I, found it. But I mean, I know millions of people use Charles Schwab, but I'm just telling you this here because I just want to break it down for you in a really, really simple way. So you open a Charles Schwab account and you Google the top 10 mutual funds, top 10 performing mutual funds, in the United States. You could do Vanguard, Cows. I mean, there's just quite a few of them. What's cool about a mutual fund is it basically collects, a certain portion of like the S&P 500 or the stock market into an account. And so like that's diversifying it for you. So you're investing in a collection of companies that perform well and have performed well over time. So it literally, there's like no risk. Over the long term, there's no risk. The market always goes up. It always goes up. And this is a cool way to do it because you don't have to watch it every day and be a day trader and stress yourself out over, did I buy at the right time or not? Like, and what you can do, and I'm not a fiduciary. So this is not, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm telling you what I have done and what has worked for me and what I know has worked for countless other people. So take it or leave it. You get a Charles Schwab account, you Google the top 10 performing mutual funds, index funds in the US, and you pick 3 and you just distribute what you have to invest amongst those 3 equally. Right? Everybody's still here. You got it. So when I first did my first trade, I was a little confused. So basically, when you're performing, you're buying your first stock, you'll do like a market. You'll see what I mean when you do it, but you'll say market, which just means you're going to buy it at whatever the market is at that price. You don't need to worry about getting in at the lowest price of the day. It's like not a big deal because this is something that you're putting aside for yourself that you're going to have for years and years and years and years. Market, order, and then you just buy it. You buy whatever a third, and you do this for all of the 3. Okay. The third thing is the golden rule of finance. You got to be saving or investing 10% of everything. And I actually don't prefer to save. I prefer to invest because once I put it into my Charles Schwab, I'm less likely to spend it. You can do it however you want, but 10% of everything you make goes into that account. You can either do it automatically or it's the first thing you do. And so what I mean by pay yourself first is when you get paid, the first thing you do before you get your Amazon cart or whatever is you put 10% of it into your Charles Schwab account or whatever, whatever platform you choose to use. But that tells you and your subconscious mind and you psychologically that you're worthy, that you're valuable, that you matter, that you give a shit about yourself and you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. You got to do it. Okay. I would like to move on to this super fun exercise. This actually helped me a lot, and I think it will help you too. We're going to write a letter to money. And you can pause this. In fact, I recommend that you do so. We don't have time for me to pause it today, but you can pause it on your own. I want you to write a letter to money as if it were a person. And when I first did this, mine was like, I don't understand. You always come and then you leave. Why won't you just stay with me? It's like you don't care about me. Like I want you so much, but you always leave. That's what mine was. And it could be like that. And some things I'd like you to reflect on as you're going through this letter to money. And this is going to heal your wealth wounds because your earliest memories from childhood about money are still impacting the way that you interact with money today because you've never actually addressed them. You've never actually looked at them. And so in order to heal that and act from a more empowered, independent perspective, you've got to understand where you're coming from, because if you keep making the same financial decisions and you just like don't understand why you can't stop spending, it's because you have a wealth wound. You have something from your childhood where you felt like you didn't get what you needed, so you deserve to get it now. You know what I'm saying? So what was your like earliest memory of money from childhood? Like, how did your mom and dad talk about money? How did they talk about people who had money? How, when you wanted something or you needed something for school and you asked them for money, what was their response? And I'd like you to, think about a time when you were proud of a financial decision you made. I know that it's really easy to be hard on ourselves for past decisions that you made with money that you're like looking back, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? But like, when was something that you did that made you feel proud of the way you handle money? And think about a moment when you felt like really stressed or anxious about money and ask yourself, like, what triggered those feelings and how did you cope with them? Now, chances are this is a time when you spent money not in alignment with your values. Like I said, if you value security and you just spend your money freely, it's going to cause money anxiety. You're going to have difficulty sleeping at night because you're not spending in alignment with what you value most in the world. And this is the one where it's like, imagine money were a person. Would it be like your best cheerleader, your best friend, a, loving, trustworthy partner? Or would it be like your arch nemesis, your frenemy? Like, what do they call it? A pick-me girl. And how's it evolved over time? And what would you like to improve about your relationship with money? Like, if money were a person, what would you say? But then what would you like to say? What would you like your relationship to be? How do you treat your money? Like in your actual wallet, are you just like throwing cash and receipts and cards in there and you've got all those little stamp cards for the nail place and, wherever you shop? Or is it organized and clean and you like know exactly where your money is? I mean, look at that. That shit's real. That's your energetic, the way you handle money. When you pay it attention and you care for it, more of it can come in. And envision your ideal future. So, like, what are some steps that you can take today to align your current financial habits with this vision? So, if you envision yourself being a total badass at making, keeping, and multiplying money, what are some things you can do right now to show up as that version of you? So think about those for a minute. Write down your answers, reflect on it, take a minute. You can pause this video, but I absolutely encourage you to do this exercise. This was so powerful for me and it helped me so much. And then when you're done, I want you to burn it. I want you to burn it because you're marking a new phase in your life. You're transforming all of this. You're releasing it. Okay, so hopefully you pause this, you wrote down your answers, and you can burn your letter later tonight. I don't know if you just are a pyro, you want to burn it now, you be my guest, but I would like you to burn that. Yeah? All right. Now we're on to the very exciting portion of this is a combination of time techniques, quantum jumping, and it's a guided visualization for you to manifest abundance. But before we can do that, I have a few quick questions for you to help you get the most out of this exercise. It's really important for you to be specific about these because this is what you're going to be releasing and stepping into, and you're going to need that clarity to experience that shift when we do it. So I'd like you to write these down as well. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of journaling. It works. What specific financial fears have been holding you back? Maybe it's that you don't have a financial cushion, so you feel stuck in a relationship or a job where you're not thriving because you don't feel like you have enough money to leave because you keep spending money on things that you don't need. And imagine the version of you who's already free from this worry. This is your baddest, most awesome version of you. I like to call it your alter ego, your 2.0. Like, you know who she is. She's in there. You can give her a name even if you want. Mine is Scarlet Rocks. But what is that version of you? What does she look like? What does she feel like? How does she wake up in the morning? What's her general vibe? What clothes does she wear? What music does she listen to? And what's a specific financial goal that you would like to achieve in the next 12 months? This goal needs to be SMART. If you're in my course, I revamped this and call it Goddess Goals just because SMART goals are great. They work. That's what we're going to stick to for the purposes of this training. So a SMART goal is specific, Like, not more money. I want $10,463.89 in my savings account by, it's got to be time bound. It's got to be achievable. And achievable just means, like, if someone has achieved it before, if someone has done it, then it's possible for you. And I can sit here as proof of what's possible. Like, I used to think it would be impossible to make more than $20,000 a month. Now I'm doing it. Follow the path, the footsteps of the people before you, and use their experiences, their wins as proof that it's possible for you. So it's achievable if it's realistic. So it's not like I'm going to become a unicorn tomorrow. It's got to be time bound, and it's got to be toward what you want. So that means it's not, I don't want to be in this job anymore. It would be, I'm doing my soul aligned business, making money, $400,000 a year doing what I love by, 3 years from now. So February 21st, 2027. That's right. Okay. And this is an interesting piece. This is really important for the exercise, but like, what is the very last thing that's going to happen before you know that is true? So if I were going to book a trip to New Jersey to go to a retreat, and that was my goal, maybe it becomes real to me when I book my plane ticket. Maybe it's when I'm on the plane. Maybe it's not till I get off the plane in New Jersey that I know that I will be at this retreat in Jersey. So, like, what's the very last thing that will have to happen before you know that this goal has come true for you in the next 12 months? So maybe it's you having a conversation with a friend, or checking your bank balance, or booking the flight, whatever it is. And once you have it, what are you going to see, hear, feel, taste, touch? Like, actually immerse yourself in that experience where this version of you has this goal. It's a done deal, signed, sealed, delivered, and you're living it. What are you going to hear, see, feel, taste, touch? Got it? All right. So, welcome to your journey of transformation. As we embark on this adventure, allow yourself to be open to profound shifts in your relationship with money. So I'd like you to find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a few deep, soothing breaths. With each exhale, release any tension you're holding, feeling your shoulders drop, the muscles around your eyes soften, your eyelids are becoming heavier and heavier as you sink deep into a state of total relaxation. Now visualize a path that represents your financial journey. Notice any obstacles along this path. These are symbolizing your fears and your anxieties about money. And yes, as you approach each obstacle, label it with the specific fear it represents. And let go of all that does no longer serve you. All those things you don't like about yourself, the insecurities, fears, negative desires and temptations, your past regrets, limiting beliefs about money, all of it. Imagine it all as it takes on another entity, someone who looks like you, but who embodies all of those negative things you don't like. Imagine them standing up from your chair and walking across the room as she turns around and looks back at you. And in that moment, you realize that all of those qualities and fears were there for a purpose. They served you through certain situations. They helped you cope, helped you learn, and thank her for serving you as best as she could in all of those situations. Now tell that old version of you that you love her. Feel the love inside your body for the old you because you've grown beyond it. You have evolved. And hear that old you say back to you, I love you, right back. Tell this old version of you, I accept you and I forgive you unconditionally, realizing that anything that was done or said was what they thought was the best choice at the time. It supported you then, and now you've grown. Say, I forgive you, and feel the unconditional forgiveness wash over you and through you as they say back, I accept you and I forgive you unconditionally. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in unconditional acceptance and breathe out unconditional forgiveness. I want you to imagine now that the entity in front of you, your ego, your 1.0 self, I want you to watch as she becomes transparent. And inside, you can see all the regret, limiting beliefs, temptations, fears, anxiety, negative wants, limiting decisions filling up this body, and watch as it drains out of that person where it can return to pure, positive source energy. Now imagine a wonderful, powerful, warm light emanating from your heart, moving towards these obstacles and gently dissolving them. With each fear released, feel a sense of lightness and freedom. Now, as you look ahead, you see this vibrant, shimmering door, shimmering all around the border with energy. And in this moment, you realize that this is a gateway that leads to your future where all your financial goals are realized. As you slowly start to walk towards the door, you confidently step through this door with total confidence. On the other side, immerse yourself in this reality. You've arrived. This is your abundant life. Feel this joy of financial freedom, the security of having a financial cushion, and the pride of all your investments growing while you sleep. Engaging all of your senses. What does this abundance look like? How does it feel? What sounds do you hear as you realize that this goal has come true? Are there any smells in the air? Now, acquaint yourself with your future self, this version of you who has mastered their finances and lives in total abundance. What advice does she have for you? Listen closely and carry that wisdom back with you. As you're holding on to this advice from your future self, travel back to the portal. Just before you step through to return to the present, place a symbol of your financial goal along your timeline, somewhere between your present and the portal to your future. This symbol is your future goal manifested. As you step back into the present, feel the alignment of your energy with this goal, and you know that each step you take from now on is moving you closer towards this reality. Now bring your awareness back into the room. You feel grounded and rejuvenated. And when you're ready, open your eyes, carrying the certainty that your financial abundance isn't just a possibility, but it's a destination you're actively moving towards. Carry this experience with you as a beacon of what's possible. Remember, your path to financial and freedom is paved with the actions that you take today, guided by the wisdom and clarity you've gained from that version of you who's already there. How did that feel? It's a done deal, okay? You're moving there every single day. So, your path forward. Today, we covered the difference between your self worth and your net worth. And instead of letting your net worth define your self worth, we're creating the self worth from within that will be reflected in our net worth. You get not what you want, but what you believe you deserve. We did our financial health assessment. We covered paying yourself first, mindful budgeting, getting out of debt, your investment strategies, and we healed your wealth wounds and planted this future goal of the abundant you on your timeline so you know it's a done deal and you're well on your way to your millionaire lifestyle. But like, what if you could tap into your CEO mindset and skyrocket your income by doing more of what you love? Picturing a life where your passions and success intertwine effortlessly and you achieve extraordinary results in just 12 weeks. It's time to step into your power, overcoming those limiting beliefs and manifest your dream lifestyle. So get ready to unleash your full potential and experience the joy of living life on your own terms. And that is what we cover in my full course, Her Millionaire Mindset. This is a shameless plug because I'm just so freaking excited and proud of it. And the women who have gone through it, like, it's just remarkable what's possible in 90 days. So, Her Millionaire Mindset is a step-by-step program that it's literally will quantum leap your personal and professional life into a whole new reality of aligned passion, purpose, and prosperity, where you're feeling like a total badass at making, keeping, and multiplying money, hitting $10,000 plus months with ease by sharing your gifts with the world, and you're easily attracting money and new money making opportunities for wealth. And you've got a rock solid success and money mindset. And because you've completely brainwashed yourself for success. And you finally just left your past in the past. You've gleaned your lessons, the wisdom, the learnings that you needed from those experiences and brought them into your present moment and let go of everything else. That's what we cover in the program. I would love to meet you there. You can sign up today. We're moving forward full speed ahead. It's like really, it's so exciting. I just love doing this. And just remember, your journey to abundance, it starts with a single step. Remember what I said about self-made millionaires. The only difference between self-made millionaires and you, what they have in common is they all started here. They all started from zero. You're in the perfect place to unlock the next level of your life. And I'm so excited to do it with you together. I love you so much. So I can't wait to see you inside the program. I hope this was everything you needed and more. Let me know what you think. I cannot wait to meet and work with you and see your transformation. Mwah.